Oh my God, old school is like, don't you miss old school?
Yes, the music, not the times. Welcome to Puerto Black Podcast.
That was pretty loud, baby.
I don't care. That's why we have mics. If you want quiet, go to sleep. Cut it. Cut.
How can you cut this off?
Because if we're going to hear Willie Colon all day and we're going to talk, what are we doing?
I get addicted when I hear all my old school stuff.
How long has it been?
What?
Since we did a podcast?
It's been a while.
Been a minute, right?
Yeah.
Been a minute. So we're going to talk about the elephant in the room real quick.
Hey, it's Friday, right? It's Friday today?
It's Friday. Yeah, it's a Friday.
Go ahead, honey.
What is this, May 10th? 2022.
May? What's up
no,
with
June,
you?
June 10th. Shit, I'm fucking lost.
May.
June.
Let's just
I'm trying to make stuff go
slow summer.
really quick for some reason. Slow rather.
Babe, you're not here today. You want to start all over again?
I know. No, I'm good. Just tired. Worked last night. One.
Welcome to Puerto Black Domino
I already did that. Domino effect. I keep dropping the domino effect. But you know what I mean. If you guys have been listening to us before, you know who we are.
Welcome to our studio.
Welcome to our studio, which is our home.
Why you keep saying that? It's a studio. I converted the whole.
I live here.
I converted the whole first floor to
we live in our studio.
The bottom part of the house.
It's what we do. We do what we do, right?
Yeah, be creative, people. Motivate yourselves.
Yep.
You can't motivate others if you're not motivated.
Got to motivate yourself, and you got to motivate yourself through this wicked time we seem to be living in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to motivate yourself. You have to find things inside of you that makes you keep going, though you keep hearing the horrid things that is going on in the world. We haven't talked to you in a while, but since we last talked, there's been a lot of stuff that's gone down that's really horrible. The killings in Buffalo, New York, and the shooting of these precious little children in Uvalde, Texas. We would be remiss and we would be negligent to have a platform that we put out there if we didn't speak about these current events. And we would love to talk about stuff to make you laugh, and me and Belle going at one another like we normally do. But believe me, we'll be doing that sometime in the show, just because she gets on my nerves sometimes. Okay.
Ask me if I care.
But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the first one. The first one was really disturbing because there was a guy who decided to go out into a supermarket and kill every Black person that he saw as soon as he exited his car. The mentality of someone thinking that way must be really messed up, to have that in your mind, that this is what you're going to do on a Saturday. Is go out and kill anyone. But particular, you have your mind set on killing people of color, Black people in this country. And he did it with the AR-15, which is a gun. It's a rifle, but it's a modified gun that shoots a lot of bullets and whatnot. I can't imagine what those people must be going through at this point. The families of these people who were wiped away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine.
My heart goes out to the parents, you know.
Of course. The thing is, I know no one likes to talk about it. And I think that, to me, that's one of the biggest problems we have in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I say in this country because there's more mass shootings in this country than any other place in the world. Because we believe that the Second Amendment, a fucking document that was written in 1776, should still not be modified today in 2022. That document that was, again, written in 1776, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, still can't be modified. That is etched in stone in most people's minds.
You don't think money has a lot to do with it?
Money has a lot to do with it when it comes to the Second Amendment, when it's the right to bear arms. Now, understand something. The right to bear arms was made because we had just defeated the British from coming over here, taking over the New World, right? Within these colonial, colonistic assholes that came over here and fought. There's a difference between what's happening today and what was happening back then, because they wanted a regulated militia to protect this country, which means the average person should be able to have a gun to protect this country from enemies, foreign and domestic, right? And that's the pledge that the president takes, and most law enforcement. We had to take that oath too, to protect the country against any enemy, foreign or domestic, and the army, by the way, and any of the armed forces and whatnot. What we don't seem to realize is that times have changed. You can modify it by saying that there are certain people who can't buy guns at certain ages. Both shooters were 18 years old. Both shooters could not go into a bar and buy a drink, get a beer.
But they could buy a gun.
But they can get a gun of, that shoots 30-something rounds per second, that you could just fire on people and whatnot. What's happening is that we've taken the gun lobbyists, right? The NRA. What they've done is made the Second Amendment an ability to make a lot of money. Do you know how much guns are? Do you know how much people that are members of the NRA pay into that? It's like paying into a union.
Yeah, that's why I said it has a lot to do with money.
It has mostly to do with money.
I think it has a lot to do with money.
It has everything to do with money and whatnot, and it's insanity. And it's insanity because we hear these things every day. And remember now, after those little children were shot in Texas, there were more things happening after that. There were a few more shootings after that. And these are children, these are kids, these 18-year-old kids. Make no mistake, mental illness is a very big factor in a lot of things that's going on in this country and whatnot. But what we're doing and what I see is being done politically, right, is they're using mental illness as the only factor with these young people going out, whether they're killing themselves or they're killing other people with guns. We're using mental illness as the only excuse. Quick question. How can you shoot yourself if you don't have a fucking gun? You feeling me? You can't buy the gun. How are you going to shoot somebody with it if you don't have the weapon?
But you're saying committing suicide, right?
Yes, for those people who commit suicide by shooting them. You can commit suicide by jumping off a building. Talking about those who commit suicide by shooting themselves.
So you're saying
shooting themselves, not by.
Let me ask you a question. So someone who's like deeply emotionally depressed.
Yes, which would be the only reason you would commit suicide.
You think that's mental illness? Mental illness?
Of course it's mental illness. It's depression. Depression is mental illness. Of course. You don't depress, right? It's capable of doing anything. If you think about it, if you go through life, right? If you have a moment where you say nothing matters to me, right? You're capable of doing anything.
Yeah.
Life is not worth living, in other words, which means you don't care about anybody else's life. You're thinking about you may start thinking about taking your life for someone else's. And that was my point. We get sad. We suffer from sadness. We suffer from sadness from loss. loss of anything that we care about. You know, especially a human being that we love. When they pass away, we get sad. If we're lucky, we don't get depressed. That we think that there is nothing worth it anymore.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
You know, and that's this. I think a lot of people feel that they're depressed and they're not. They're just sad. And they get scared. Why can't I stop feeling this way? Why can't I stop feeling sad when someone passes away? When a parent passes away? And why am I waking up every day sad? I mean, in this feeling of a funk, you know. I tell my sister the same thing. It's okay to grieve, but you have to come out of it at some point. And most people's mind will bring them out of it. And you start thinking about the great things about that person and the memories for that person. All of a sudden, your life goes on. You'll always have that void in your life because that person is no longer here, you know. But that's what I'm saying. The problem is, and my whole point at the beginning was, if someone is suffering from any type of mental illness, whether it is schizophrenia, depression, whatever, they should not be allowed to buy a gun because those people are dangerous if their mind is not correct. And how do we know that? We don't know. If I own a gun shop and someone comes in there and buys a gun, like the kid in Texas, he bought 2 guns within a week, I think. 2 AR-15s in a week. As a gun owner, I mean, and I own a gun. As a guy who sells guns at a gun shop, right? Wouldn't that set off a red flag to you? If a kid that's 18, now you got all this information, you know when he was born, he was 18 years old, and then he buys 100 and something rounds of ammunition, right? Wouldn't that set off a red flag? And wouldn't you go,
excuse me,
Policia.
call your parents, let me talk to your mother, your father.
Right, or call the police, right? Or call the police, say, yo, this kid is trying to buy 2.
I won't be owning no gun shop. I know that for a fact. So.
And let me tell you, some gun shops are lucrative. Their guns are relatively expensive for the most part. So if you want to make a lot of money on the gun, no, I watched Matthew McConaughey talk eloquently about
you could see his heart, like
what we should do. It had nothing to do with the Republicans or Democrats or liberals or conservatives or any stupid bullshit.
He looked like he was in pain.
He was in pain and whatnot. He's from there. And at the end of the day, right, you have to ask yourself a question, right? Everybody does, right? Who espounds to this political bullshit, right? Are you a Democrat or are you a human being? Are you a Republican or a human being, right? What are you? What do you see yourself as? If you classify yourself as a political party, if you don't look at yourself as a human being, you're a scumbag. If you don't look at another human being, regardless of how they voted in the last fucking election, and you look at them somehow as less than human because they voted for somebody you didn't like and who lost, you're talking mental illness, they have to come up with a new definition for that one and whatnot, because that's insanity. How do you look at and how do you espouse to be anything else but a human being, a good human being? For somehow, Republicans and Democrats believe that if you don't listen and espouse to their way of thinking, oh, you got to be this way, that way, your kids are not even right, not even being raised right. I am nothing political whatsoever. I do not care about it. I think it's something to separate people. I think it's something to make people hate one another. And it's a game. And you know what that game is? At the end of the day, money. It's all about money. Contribute to my fund. Contribute to my election. We need you to give, even if it's $10, even if it's just $5, right? It's all about money. It's all about bullshit. And that's how stupid the American public is. That's how stupid the average person in America is today, is to believe that a political party is somehow going to uplift your motherfucking ass from the ghetto, from the mountains of West Virginia, right? They actually think because Donald Trump or fucking Joe Biden, right? Oh, he's elected now. All of a sudden, I'm getting out of poverty. The only way you get your ass out of poverty is you bust your ass, think of something positive to do, right? Think of something. To make your kids think of something to do, right? A political party is not picking you up out of fucking poverty. They're not. You have to do that. It's on you. And that relationship that you have between you and your God, whoever you believe in, right, will move you. Not some fucking clown in a suit that lives in Washington, D.C. If you truly believe that the Congress, the senator, the president of the United States even knows who the fuck you are, right? That is another new form of insanity. Mm-hmm. For all these people who wave the flags and, oh, this person gonna win, oh, my life is gonna change. You are mentally ill.
So let's change the subject, since you got that out your system.
Yeah.
What about parents? You know, like,
they push that shit on their kids too.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for me to, you know, be working as a single mom and raise 3 boys. One of them, I was so concerned because I was afraid that he may get into gangs. So what I did was, I showed up in the school. I got involved, you know, and the way I got involved was, no, I didn't work in the school when my son was going to school, which is a good idea. Parents can do that. What I did was, I will be in each and every one school except for my oldest one, because he was living with his dad at the time. But I was always making sure that they were doing okay, that they weren't bullying anyone, mm-hmm. that they weren't cutting. Of course, the little one was cutting a lot, and I would catch him all the time in the boys' bathroom. He'll be there playing with his friends. And every time the school would call me, the principal or the guidance counselor or the vice principal would call me, I was there. And if they're watching this, hello, remember me? I was that parent who was always consistently in the school, because it was a major factor for me in my life, because I wanted to make sure that these kids were in school, not wasting time, you know, not creating something that they can bring home to me. And, you know, it was important for me to be in the classroom with my son, high school, where I sat there in his classroom. Yeah, I did that. Raised my hand to make sure that he answered every question, because I needed him to understand that was important, that education was important, because it determined their future. Mm-hmm. And I say all this to say that, yeah, it's hard to raise children, to try to put a roof above your head, especially during the pandemic. Oh my God, so many parents lost their jobs. Mm-hmm. My heart goes out to them. And then they have to deal with the kids in school. And now with this thing happening, I think, I don't know what I would be like, you know, I would probably be in school every day. Forget about my job. I will be in school, you know, and it's important that parents get involved. No, it's not going to be easy, but I'm telling you, got to drop everything, which I did, and just make sure that these kids wasn't acting up and doing anything crazy, because we need to control our kids, is what I'm saying. We need to make sure that our kids are doing what they need to do, so that they can understand us parents why we're working to take care of them. Right. And to make the story short, you know, I truly believe that whatever our kids do is going to come back to us. You know, we are responsible. I don't care how old they are, we are still responsible for the life of these kids.
I disagree.
You know, I'm talking about as far as if they, you know, if these kids do something bad, they're going to look at their history. They're going to look at their relationship with their parents, is what I'm saying. And that's what I'm trying to say. You have to have a good relationship with your kids.
My idea of being a parent, right, is to teach your children constantly. And teach them good things. Teach them responsibility. Teach them humanity. how to be human beings, how to walk on this earth and not being an asshole, how to take care of other people who need help. And you do that by setting the example for what they see.
Mhm.
Most kids will parent the way they were parented. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Most kids will feel the love that they and spread the love that they get as a child. If you keep it positive, if you keep it in the realm of, to me, I was speaking to Megan the other day, our daughter, and I was telling her, I don't care what you do, as long as you do it to the best of your ability. You know, and I tell them all the time, live this life, but, you know, and go out here and just be, you know, be happy, because a happy person does happy things, you know, as silly as that may sound, right? They do happy things. They do things to make them happy. And then they meet somebody and they do things to be happy together.
Mhm.
Then they raise children and they raise happy children. My biggest problem, right, is that if you raise your kid to be happy, if you raise your kid to be a humanitarian who believes in empathy for other people and love other people, regardless of their race, creed, color, sexual orientation, and they deal with people just as human beings, right? They have to come against those who don't raise their children the right way. Those who raise their children in prejudice against something,
Yeah, you teach your
right?
kids not to judge,
Right?
not judge others.
Even food. Let me tell you how weird shit is, right? Food, right?
Mhm.
If both parents say, I hate red meat, right? Or I hate eating vegetables,
Mhm.
hate broccoli,
Mhm.
not gonna eat broccoli,
Mhm.
right? Never gonna serve it. Gonna always talk about how I hate broccoli. And I'm being stupid here, but right? I'm using broccoli as a point, right? Your kid is not gonna eat broccoli unless he or she steps out of themselves and say, try this damn broccoli.
Well, you can raise a kid, you could teach your kid how to eat broccoli when they're babies.
No. But that's what I'm saying, though. Listen to what I'm saying,
They
right?
grow
Get
up to
my
hate it.
point. Get my point. You don't eat a certain thing, right? Your kid is never gonna know how that tastes unless he or she steps out of themselves and say, I'm gonna try that. Mother and father never liked it, right? And I'm doing this as a metaphor,
Mhm.
right? And they eat it and they go, what the fuck is wrong with mom and dad? This is some good stuff,
And it's healthy.
right? It's the same thing when you look at somebody. If you're in a household that's constantly talking about, don't like those people, don't like those people, right? Your kid will go to school, right? See those people
Mhm.
and go, mom and dad say they don't like, stay away from y'all.
Yeah.
You know, I can't.
They mimic their parents, yes.
And yes, and whatnot. So being a good parent is teaching your child how to be human, then how to love life.
And it's
and
sad
have
when
fun.
you never have that from your
Mhm.
parent, or your parent never,
Can you imagine growing up? I can't imagine growing
but
up.
you can grow different.
Right.
Everybody's different.
I can't imagine growing up. And I was telling somebody this the other day,
Mhm.
right? Where your household is somewhere, and I'm talking from I don't know. You know what? I'm so tired. I can't figure out. You know, I'm of African descent and shit like that, right? I'm tired of calling myself black because it's a fucking color,
So don't.
and African American because I have nothing to do with Africa, right? I never grew up in a household where someone told me, where my mom and dad told me, right? You have restrictions, right? Because of the color of your skin, you can't do certain things, right? Careful. The white man is out there, right? Never grew up in that household. You know what kind of household I grew up in? Where mother and father said, you do anything that you choose to do, but you have to make that choice and you have to do it 100%, right? Don't ever let nobody tell you you can't do something. Don't let anybody put restrictions on you.
And
I had the best upbringing in the world. Didn't have a lot, but my parents were positive people. They kept pushing it forward, kept pushing it forward. Every time there was a roadblock, they bust that shit down. They put their foot to that shit, kicked it down, kept moving forward. That permeated itself in me, my sister, my cousins, my brother, all of our lives, because they saw these people go, you ain't stopping me from doing something, and you're not gonna fucking put me and pigeonhole me into something because of the color of my skin. You're not gonna do it. And if you tried to do it, right, there's a problem. I'm coming at you, and then I'm moving on, and I'm gonna go and do something else, right? Every parent should teach their child, right? There's no difference between you and anybody else, and you can do anything that you want to. If you don't teach your child that, how we put ourselves in this shit, right? And you know what I'm going at, right? I'm black. Black. Puerto Rican.
Yeah, but
Let me finish. Let me go off on this rant for a second. Okay. I'm black. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Dominican and whatnot. Different and whatnot. I can't emphasize this enough, right? Know your fucking history. Know your history. And there is no reason why anybody, any age or whatever, cannot get on the website, Google, find out what your history is. And for the life of me, when you look and you see that there is a correlation between certain groups of human beings, certain groups of us, of different nationalities, we've born in different places. Me and you were born in the same place, but our lineage.
But we were never born together, though.
No, I'm 5 years older than you, right? We were born in Harlem, right? Right? The lineage that we have is a little different, right? You're from Puerto Rico, right?
I'm from Manhattan.
No, I'm talking about that's what I mean. Your lineage, meaning your ancestors. I'm from Puerto Rico, right? My ancestors are from Africa and the United States and Europe and stuff like that, right? The common bond that me and you and every Puerto Rican and Black person have is that lineage of Africa, right? Do you realize there are some people in Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and all that shit don't understand that the lineage is Taino and all those.
Well, yeah, listen, I hear you.
It's Taino and all those islands, but it's also African, right? For some unknown reason, there are people that is the color of night that speak Spanish.
That are from Puerto Rico.
That are from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Cuba, who hate Black people. And like all of a sudden, yo, dude, you're the color of my shoe.
And it's funny because
and you hate Black people.
And it's sad because our children, they grow up in that culture. And I'm like, okay, why is that? Why is my grandmother telling me, my grandmother used to call I don't know, remember, she used to call them monkeys.
Yeah.
And I was just a baby, and I'm like,
and the sad thing about that, it was like that man could have told her your mother is a monkey because she probably is my color, right? It's ignorance.
I don't think I don't know if it's ignorant.
It is ignorant. How the fuck is it not ignorant?
Because let me finish. Because what I'm trying to say is, if your parents don't teach you, like my grandmother, I don't even know. She was born back in early 1900. I don't know who her parents were.
No, she was born in 19.
Babe, she was born in 1906 or 08, somewhere around there.
She could have been, because she would have been the same age.
Or 1912, something like that. Yes, I'm telling you. Well, anyway, so my point is this. If you don't have parents to teach you where you come from or teach you about your culture,
right? So
what happens? They're gonna go out there and learn themselves. They're gonna. This is what I believe. My father's white. I love my father. He's white and he's gorgeous and he's tall. So I don't know what happened in my grandmother's history. I really don't know, and I wish that
that's not her father. She's talking about her grandmother.
I'm talking about how my grandmother.
Her father looked like Muhammad Ali. Thank you.
He did. My grandmother was Taino. She had this beautiful black long hair. She was just a beautiful woman when she was young. I looked a lot like her, let's put it that way. Maybe that's why she hated me so much. But anyway, I couldn't understand the first time I was introduced to someone who was dark, and here she comes along and says this disgusting thing. And I'm like, wow. But anyway, I was mentally abused by my grandmother.
We're not going to go on that right now.
I know she was not well in her head. But and it's funny how I can laugh at that now, but it was very, very hard for me. But when she said that, I was so upset because he was such a good guy. You know, he was my friend. And how could she say that knowing she's also Black, you know? But the mind of these elderly, you can't change you know, what's that? Oh, you can't change
You can't.
or
You
something.
can't.
Old horse.
There's two things. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, and you can't make a horse drink some shit like that. There's two different things that you're trying
My
to put
grandmother
together.
was the worst. But again, it's about how we teach our kids. Just like I teach, you know, we teach our children to love, to really embrace everybody in your life. Never judge, never think that you're better than others, and never think that, you know, that you're the, no. Because I teach my kids, yes, you're good at who you are, but don't think that you're better than others.
Yeah,
I don't teach my kids that, but there are some of them out there who feel that they're better than others.
Which is crazy.
Especially
I'll give you a perfect example, people. A guy who works for me is from Peru, right? Fucking Peru, right? So I'm talking to this clown, right? And I hope the prick sees this so he can say something and I can break his jaw.
we don't want to go there.
No, I do. I want to whip this dude's ass. But anyway, I'm sorry. So I'm leaving out and he's going on a vacation back to Peru with his wife, right? And I just happened to mention, because I barely talked to this guy who works for me. Oh, wow. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico? I said, Puerto Rico's nice, because he told me, oh, we go to Peru every year. Every year we go to Peru, right? Right? So I say, well, you ever been to Puerto Rico? You know, this sumbitch tells me, oh, no, never go to Puerto Rico. My wife don't like those people, right? I'm like, those people? What the fuck are you saying? What do you mean, those people? You know, the people that live on the relatively small island in the Caribbean called Puerto Rico, all of a sudden they're different from fucking people. They're different compared to a Peruvian, right? And you should see this dude. It's not like he's fucking, what's the good
Well, he looks Puerto Rican?
No, he looks Taino more than anything else. He looks native. He looks like he looks Taino, right? So, which means he's darker than me. He just has straight bucket, right? And I had to leave really quickly. But before I left, I said, your wife has a problem with Puerto Rico? I said, my wife is Puerto Rican, right? So you have a good fucking night. I just left out. Now, every night he comes in to relieve me, right? Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How's everything? Good, how are you? No problems tonight? Have a safe night. I'm gone and whatnot. Because the first time you feel comfortable enough to talk disparagingly against anybody, right? We're not talking anymore, right? Because at the end of the day, right? Me and my wife have always knew this and whatnot, the bond that we have with each other, those from the islands, those from the United States. And that bond is that our ancestors, and the funny thing is, our ancestors could be the same ancestors. They could have dropped my lineage off in Puerto Rico and then moved up north and dropped my lineage off in the Americas. We could be related somewhere hundreds of years ago, all of us, because West African were selling Africans into slavery.
Selling their own people.
Their own people, right?
Some of us don't know that.
Right? And in the South America too, they were dropping off things. Look at Brazil and South America, the African heritage down there, right? For someone to look at me and feel comfortable enough to tell me that their wife, whoever this fraud is, right, doesn't like a certain group of people and my wife is from there. heritage one, you got a lot of balls and whatnot. Be careful what you say to people because you never know. I love seeing people putting their foot in their mouth, right? When I told them that you were Puerto Rican, that motherfucker's soul dropped. Like, what the fuck did I just say? Why did I just say that? Right?
Sometimes you gotta be careful what you say.
You always have to be. Why would I even think of saying, if someone tells me, go to the Dominican Republic, right? Or go to Florida. Oh, too many damn Cubans down there. Oh, wait a minute, I'm cute. Right? Why would I put myself in that position where I'm gonna be an asshole? That's what I said. And this is going back to what we said in the beginning, right? The very start, right? Always be good.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think.
Don't judge people.
Exactly. I think people judge because sometimes, you put yourself in a situation and then.
Can I ask you a question though? Let me ask you this, right?
I'm afraid.
Let me ask you this, right? Right? If you tell me you've never been somewhere, how do you dislike the people that live there? How would you know? You've never been.
That's
right?
not me.
Ain't that crazy? Right? My wife hates them. I've never been, but my wife hates somebody. She probably had a bad encounter with somebody at Walmart.
I just don't understand how. I just don't know why people don't like each other. I don't get it.
Because of bad encounters that they have with one person of that nationality. Then all of a sudden they hate everybody.
How,
white guy spelled to me.
We're the same people.
We're humans.
It's like coming from the same. It's like, for example, when you got 5 or 6 kids coming from that same family, and then they grow up hating each other. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it, and jealousy. It's sad. I think that it's just how people are.
Oh, before we leave, on that same vein.
That's all I can say.
On that same vein, right? On that same vein, I've seen so many things now, and it's becoming almost routine on Instagram, Facebook, and stuff about people talking about people marrying outside of their race, right? So every time I read that, I have to laugh because I say people are dating outside of their race. So there's motherfuckers out here marrying aliens. They're marrying people from other planets because we're all the same ways. We're Homo sapien. We're human, right? There is no different race. There's different nationalities because I come from whatever. My nationality is that. I speak
it's sad.
like Maggie's boyfriend's people. They speak Portuguese because they're from Cape Verde, right? They're not a different race, right?
I don't get it.
I'm sorry, Mom, listen, right? You speak Spanish. You're not a different race than them.
No.
You're the same race.
Yeah.
Just from different places, speaking different language.
Exactly. I'm from New York.
You're from New York, right? You're a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker too, right? I talk with a different accent.
Yeah, and I hate when they say, "Oh, you're from Puerto Rico, and how come you don't speak fully Spanish?" I wasn't born in Puerto Rico, but I'm from New York, and I'm going to speak my Spanish.
But that doesn't make you.
That's how I'm going to defend myself.
That doesn't make you a different race.
No.
So if you married me, right? People say, "Well, you're a mixed race." First and foremost, let me explain something really quick. No, this is quick.
Time up.
No, hold a second. First of all, let me tell you something. This will make sense to most people, right? We both lived in Harlem. Where were you born? You were in Harlem or Brooklyn?
Excuse me?
Where were you born?
In Manhattan, East Harlem.
East Harlem, right? I was born in Harlem Hospital, right? We're both New Yorkers. We're both New Yorkers. We're 5 years apart though, but we lived in the same area for a while. She's lived in the Bronx. I've lived in the Bronx.
You lived in Lower Manhattan.
Lower Manhattan, right? Right. Our lives, besides the families and stuff like that, our lives were similar, right? She's just from Puerto Rico. Her lineage is from Puerto Rico. My lineage is from Africa, Europe, and I don't know where else, and probably native, right? We're not that different. Our experience in life, with the exception of family, but our experiences, we can sit here and talk about shit that we look at each other and go,
and nobody wants to listen.
no, no, check this out, right? We talk.
I remember that, right?
Right? Random guy
That's just
who
funny.
was visiting his mother
Mhm.
over in Jersey.
Why are you looking at me like that?
And we parked.
Is there something crawling on me?
And we parked, and he just happened to come out. We parked next to his car, I think.
Okay,
And
I
he was
remember.
very friendly.
Oh
He was
yeah,
just
I
happy.
remember that. Please don't say it. Don't say what I said.
He's
I
just
was,
happy as
I
shit.
was-
No, because what you said is not bad, right? Was just happy. Hey, how you doing, guys? Puerto Rican guy.
I critique myself too hard.
Brother from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rican brother. Right. So he comes out and he says, he starts talking to us, and he speaks to me in Spanish because he thought I was
Dominican
or Puerto Rican, one of them.
Dominican.
Right. She says Dominican because of my skin, which is not right.
Because that's what everybody says.
I've seen so many people in Puerto Rico.
No,
darker
but
than me.
I'm talking about people that I've came across.
And maybe it's my voice too.
They thought you were Dominican.
But he starts speaking to me, and my wife, in her in her intimate wisdom, says, no, he's Moreno.
Yeah. No, I'm Moreno.
The guy looks at her like, why can't he just be your husband?
Yeah.
You know, why would you label him something else?
Yeah, but my intention wasn't being racist.
No, not at all. Because that's the last thing
I
you
was
are.
just being funny.
No, my wife looks at all of us like we vibe on each other like crazy. We say we are all from the same place. Yeah. We all from the same tribe. All of us.
I love my people.
Yeah, all of us. Anybody from the islands, Dominican, Cuba, Jamaica, we all from the same tribe. America, we all from the same tribe. And of course,
you guys were men. I was the only single woman.
Right.
There,
so she
like getting on my case.
He said, no, we married at the time.
No, I'm saying, you know, it was just you guys talking against a female, and he was trying to correct me, and I was just letting him know, hey, don't take it personally. Yeah,
we just a joke. We were married, and no, she just said it because that sometimes it's a natural response. If you're talking to somebody who speaks Spanish, sometimes that's what you want to say, as opposed to saying no, he's American or no, whatever. It's that means African American, right? So or dark.
Yeah.
Moreno means.
I was corrected, and I appreciate it.
And he was the best thing he said was, you know, that's your husband. Mm-hmm. He's not anything other than that. And it wasn't offended, but I think it hurt him, right? Because he was on my vibe and your vibe. He was on our vibe. And like, yo, nah, we all La Familia, man. All of us, Black Americans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, we all are the same thing. And we got into this deep conversation about that. And yeah, he was on that same vibe. And if we don't teach our children that, and you know, I know there's white people watching it too, but I'm not meaning to exclude you, but I'm talking about, because Italians do it, right? Italians stick together. They talk about their heritage and Irish and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So we should have some pride in who we are as African descendants, you know, descendants from Africa. All of us are that. Most of us are from the islands and here in the Americas, right? We are descendant of Africa. We know nothing about it, but we embrace their culture. Mm-hmm. That culture, because it's always been our culture too.
Our motherland.
Our motherland. That is what, that is who we are as a people. We need to come together as a people and stop saying, because this one speaks Spanish, this one speaks English, this one speaks Portuguese, this one speaks another language, right? That somehow we are not all intertwined together. You know, as the Italian has, the Italian has La Familia with them, we should have it with us too. We teach one another stuff as far as food. We love each other's food. You know, my wife loves Jamaican food. My kids love Spanish food, Jamaican food, all kinds of food.
Yeah, you teach your kids to taste different cultures.
Yes, and experience different cultures.
And if you don't, you don't.
You don't. But if you don't, you're doing you know, we talk about children. Well, you do your children the biggest disservice in the world if you are Latino or Black, if you do not teach them the connection that we all have. And if you people still get out there and talk about, well, Latino people, they ain't Black, you know, they try to be white. Yes, a lot of Black people try to act and try to disassociate themselves with you too. Stop being a fool. There's always going to be that person. be proud of who you are as a human being. I
Well,
guarantee you,
I
you
always
will
tell the
achieve
boys,
much.
do not associate with those individuals. You need to associate with quality people,
Yeah,
people that have a goal, people that are, if there's nothing wrong, say to your kids, those who are making it, find out.
how they doing it?
Pick their
Brain.
brains
Yeah,
and learn from them
of
and
course.
be around them. Because I truly
Don't be
believe
stupid and not
I
find
truly
out.
believe comfort is very, very dangerous. So,
Yes.
you if you want to, it took me a long time to learn all these things. I had to learn on my own by
Right.
myself, and also, when you get into relationships, you learn from that individual. You learn from
You
each other.
should.
Actually, like I told the kids, let your relationship be a relationship where you can grow and learn from one another, not a relationship that is a rock. Because when you have a seed, you compare a seed to a rock, which side do you want? If you're smart enough, you understand what I mean by seed and a rock. So, I
A
teach
rock sheet.
I teach that to the kids. So, honey, come on, like us, our marriage, what
Mhm.
kind of wife you think I am?
Oh,
Like
that's crazy.
since you've been with me,
Crazy.
what kind of wife, like how do you view me?
No, I've learned a lot from you.
You know?
I've learned a lot from you. I've learned inspiration to see someone go through what you've gone through as a child, and I'm not going to get into it, right?
Well, you're talking about it.
But I'm not
asking you what kind of wife I am.
But see, one thing I learned is you don't let me speak.
That's okay.
No, it's not. I've learned from you the same thing I learned from my dad is seeing people that go through childhoods that are not the greatest childhood. Seeing people persevere should motivate you, especially if you didn't come from that thing. Because at the end of the day, I look at you and my dad and I say that I have no excuse, which makes my kids have no excuses. I mean, all five of them have no excuses because the shit that y'all went through and said, nope, I'm loving. Nope. Fuck that. I ain't gonna be like that. I'm not being like them. I'm gonna love regardless. Motherfuckers didn't break me. Nope, I'm not gonna be like your sorry asses. Right? To see you and my dad go through that and my dad being the most loving man I've seen in my life, my hero, right? And you're my hero because I've seen and I know what you've been through. And you persevered and you loved. You raised your children in love.
Mhm.
They mean the world to you. You didn't say, fuck that, no one cared about me. I ain't gonna care about you. Why should I care about anybody? Because no one cared about me.
Mhm.
And my dad did the same thing. My dad could have said, fuck that, I ain't no kids, whatever. No one cared about me and I hustled the way I had to hustle.
Mhm.
And he always told me before he died, be better than me. And I said, that's a lofty
Mhm.
proposition. As I got older, I started thinking, well, damn, this is my hero. How the fuck no excuses? Like our kids have no excuses, right? Oh, what are you upset about?
They don't have no idea, even how we were raised.
No.
Because we came, I know I came from projects. So
Me too.
these little
Me too. I just came through it with good
ungrateful
parents.
kids don't understand how it is to live in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea.
No.
But they all had it good. But I think that the majority of, some of us Puerto Ricans, we do embrace our culture. We love our people. We love how we want to be loved, and how we want to treat other people, and even if they're not, they don't receive us, it's fine. I don't care. My thing is I know who I am and how I treat myself and how I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And if you love yourself, you can love other people.
yeah, exactly. And when you love because that's just who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't love, it's because you have not learned what love is, especially if you say you love God. You're a liar, because if you love God, you know what love is, because love, you love and you forgive.
What's they say? They always say, love is love.
Love is love.
Love is love. And there's no in between, there's no medium, there's no,
Nope.
you can't halfway love a person. You can either love or love something.
Love conquers all.
Yeah. you know, either you love or you don't. There is no I love a little bit, right? No, you don't love them a little bit. No, you don't love her a little bit. No, you don't love it a little bit. You just love.
You know, and just to conclude this,
Like me, I love Florida.
I think
I hate Connecticut.
that we all need to, you know, just always be positive and always stay positive and always be motivated, because you can't tell someone to, you know, like, just to get off the course, you want to help your kid, you know, to be better. You know, there's something wrong with my kid. I need help with my kid. And then you say it this way, well, I need help with my kid. You know, my kid needs to be motivated. They're going to look at you and say, it's no wonder why your kid is not motivated. No wonder why your kid is not inspired. Because we as parents, we have a big responsibility, because raising a kid is a job. It's a job. It takes a whole village to raise a kid, you know, and this Puerto Rican and this Black dude here, this is what I love about my podcast, because I came up with this concept about Puerto Rican and this domino effect that we have, you know, and domino, because dominoes fall, you know, together.
They knock each other over.
They knock each other over, just like, you know, we have family members who can knock another family member over, just like a generation. And so if we don't change, and we don't motivate ourselves and change our mind, we still keep stuck on stupid, because our old parents, our grandparents, and their parents, and then gotta fix that and say, hey, let's stop that chain. This is why I want to create this podcast, just to talk about certain things when it comes to us. You know, I don't like to talk about politics. That's him.
No, I don't like to talk about. I think politics are bullshit. Like I said before, there's no such thing as just the human condition. There is no politics. There's some fucking people just decided to make two parties and then fight one another. Bullshit. Always remember that. It's all bullshit. There's no politics. It's just us.
Okay, let's talk about politics.
I'm not talking about politics. I said there is no such thing as politics. It's a fucking misnomer. It's bullshit. Goodbye, people.
Wait, I haven't dismissed this yet.
I am dismissing myself.
Anyway, this Puerto Rican is saying, I want everyone to have a great day. Play some music.
Live.
Live your life. Get up. Go for walks. Go jogging. Go dancing.
She's looking at me to go for a walk. I live in the forest.
No, we don't.
Boring as shit.
Oh my God, it's beautiful out here. It's all oasis.
Water. I need water and palm trees.
Got horses.
Water and palm trees. Guys, that's coming soon.
We got horses.
The next time you see, one time you're going to see us in a different location. We're going to be in somewhere else with palm trees.
I saw this huge spider in the bathroom. Oh my God, I ran out of there.
About anything about spiders, bears, trees in New England.
Anyway, bye, people.
Later.
Puerto Black domino effect.
New York connection.
You know, you haven't taken me to New York. As a matter of fact, I want to go to New York by myself.
Well, go to New York by yourself. Have fun.